Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video and another unboxing and first impressions. Today we're unboxing a flagship model from Ernest Borel, which is a Swiss-made brand that was one of those victims in the 70s that died out due to the quartz crisis, but it was revived because in the 90s the Chinese bought the rights to this name and they continued the production in Switzerland. And one of the cool things about them is that they're not trying to hide that fact. It's plainly visible on their webpage, something that many brands try to avoid. So they're not ashamed of their Chinese ownership. And another thing they're not ashamed of is the fact they use third-party movements, because that is also clearly stated on their webpage. They're not trying to hide their movements between behind their own designations. No, they actually state what movement they're using, which I find pretty cool. The watch comes in this luxurious box. Here you have the papers of the watch, like a little catalog, an additional leather strap and warranty. But enough about that, let's open the main box and check out the watch. And here it is. So let me just take it out and remove the box so we can enjoy in the watch itself. Let me just zoom in, and here it is, the Grandeur Dual Time. It's, like I said, their flagship model, priced at the top range of their lineup at $2,500. For that you get a Swiss-made watch, 42 millimeters in diameter, just under 50 lug to lug. I'll have all the specs here in the corner of the screen, as well as ready for the full review. And very, very thin. Like I said, I'll have the specs here, but this appears well under 12 millimeters, maybe slightly over 10. But then again, being 42, it might be down to that, because when a watch is larger in diameter, it appears thinner than it is, but this really does appear thin. It comes with a 22 millimeter crocodile or alligator grain leather strap, which seems quite supple. And I do like this stylized EB that is also repeated on the seconds hand as the counterweight. I don't know if you can see. The watch is, like I said, rose gold, and you have a lot of rose gold details on the dial, including the main hands. And this is powered by a Soprod TT661 movement that comes with both a big date complication and a dual time complication. Now, the way you operate this, in the first click, turning one way you're gonna change the date, but turning the other way you're not gonna do anything. To set the world time and main time, you pull the crown to the second position, which is gonna hack the movement. And now if you turn it clockwise, counterclockwise, you're gonna, as you can see, move both hands and both world times together in sync. So when you want to set up this individual one, which is like your local time or home time, whichever one you want to use it, you're gonna turn clockwise, because then the hands are going to move counterclockwise, and the hour hand of this small dial is going to stay in one position. So you actually set this one. So when you want to set this, you first set the main time where you want to set this. So let's say 9:15, and now we want this time to show us, I don't know, 6:15. Now you're going to turn it the other way. This one is going to stay at 9:15, although the minutes are going to stay in sync, which really looks cool. But as you can see, the hours stay put. Very cool. And now we get to the 6:15, like so, and now we have the 3-hour difference between these two world times. Very cool way of setting the time. Maybe it would have been more practical if it, like, on the first click you set the dates in one way and the hour hand of this time in the other, but then you wouldn't see the play of the sync of these minute hands. So I'm actually okay with it. Now I'm gonna try this watch on, but being 42, it's probably gonna be too big on my wrist, but then again, it doesn't seem too big lug to lug. And like, when it comes to dressy watches, I prefer watches up to 36 millimeters, but because of this complication and this smaller dial, I actually like the fact it's bigger, because it makes reading this one much easier. Because as you can see, these gold ones, the main ones, are actually not really that visible, being with all the details on the dial. As you can see, you even have some exposed bridges with finish, you have blued screws and all that. But this, the small one with the blue hands, is definitely more visible. So if I was to use this as a world time or as a dual time watch, I would actually use this as my main time to read, because it just looks easier to read. But overall, I do like the aesthetics of the watch. The case, as you can see, is mostly polished, like the sides are polished, the bezel is polished. You even have this bevel which is actually polished, and the only brushed part is the top of the lugs. Oh, transparent case back, very nice. Okay, the watch does look very nice. Let me just try to put it on my wrist with this butterfly clasp. Okay, here it is on my 6.5-inch wrist. It's definitely on the larger side, but I believe the lug to lug is pretty short because, as you can see, it doesn't overhang my wrist. And I do like this really has a lot of wrist presence, but look how, okay, this is definitely a very thin watch. Like I said, we're gonna have the specs in the corner of the screen, but this definitely is very thin. Look, the strap here with the buckle is probably thicker than the watch itself. It actually wears quite comfortable, and despite this leather strap being like very chunky and everything, it's very supple and it conformed to my wrist instantly. This is a very, very comfortable wear. Anyways, that's it when it comes to this unboxing and first impressions, but do stay tuned for the full review because of this detailed, very multi-leveled and multi-finished dial. I can't wait to put this under macro and see how well it is made, but I don't have my doubts that it's gonna be epic. Look at it. This is gonna look very good under macro with those fancy shots and everything. And one thing we do not have to do is a loom shot that I always do in these unboxings, because this doesn't have any loom whatsoever. Anyways, very cool. So this is it. Thank you for watching. Like I said, do stay tuned for the full review, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.